There. Come on, let's go.
Wait, hold up. How many Molotovs you got left back here?
Let's hit it on the way back. Leave it.
Yeah. Leave it my ass.
Sounds like you got your wish. Deke. Hey, Deke. Bro. I think it's dead.
Show you. I was gonna be your father. Now she says he will be her father. No. I will find him, and I will make him suffer.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Pressplaypodcast. I'm your host, Drew Hettinger, along with my co-host.
What is up, guys? It's Troy.
And today, guys, we're going to be veering a little bit from the road that we've been on. Still going to be in the gaming train. But we're going to be talking about some of your favorite and our favorite zombie game franchises and go over them and kind of go into detail about some of the things we like about them and like where we see them going. So yeah, today's topic pretty much is just zombie video games. Until there's really anything gaming news worthy of talking about, we're kind of just going to like have our own little, I guess like types of episodes, whatever you want to call it.
Our own
themes.
conversation.
Our own conversation.
I don't think that was a good word for it, but...
No. But, hey, we're going to work with what we got.
All right, I fixed it.
All right. And what better way to kick off zombie games than kind of... I mean, not really the godfather, but I mean, I guess to a degree the godfather of modern zombie games anyways, Dead Island. So what was your first experience with Dead Island?
So I used to watch Dead Island 1 on YouTube. It was back when, you know, all the groups were together, and so you had a group of YouTubers that would play. Mm-hmm. And so they were playing it, and I really liked the aspect of, like, your weapons could break. There was crafting, you could drive. I mean, it was like everything that no zombie game had done so far. Because so far we had Left 4 Dead and Call of Duty zombies. And so those were just shoot 'em ups. But this game dwelled so far into... the actual genre that... I thought open world zombies would be fun. And it was fun with friends. But I would have to say, and I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, but like alone, the game was kind of boring to me.
I definitely got that way at some point. I don't necessarily know if it was always, but just because it was like, that was a newer type of game at the time, that's the only reason why. But it was definitely... way more fun to play with, you know, any of your friends or just random people. I mean, it's not a game you want to load up and just play by yourself, that's for sure. You wouldn't really want to play it. It was the multiplayer that got everybody excited and playing that.
No, yeah, and I think the map also really helped because, like, we're so used to, like, you know, just inner city, sometimes in the country, like, Call of Duty, just, like... maps that like you wouldn't actually be in a scene for, but like Dead Island with it being on like an island resort, I think added realism to it, and so you didn't feel like you were like so much in a fantasy game. You just kind of actually thought, oh, this could actually happen.
That's a good point.
Which it still could.
Yeah, definitely a good point. Not very many games that have used that tropical, I guess, well, to the extent tropical resort setting. I don't know. It's pretty cool. I think it's the first time I've ever seen it done in a game. So
no, yeah, because I don't think really zombies didn't really start getting popular till like The Walking Dead came out. Real, I mean, like it's real popularity. Because I think Dead Island came out in 2010, 11.
I think 11.
I want to say 11.
That was right when the 2010s began is when the zombie
Yeah.
frenzy started.
So I think it came out like just in time for it to like really kind of pick up and boom. Of course, second one's nowhere in sight. Trailer came out 7 years ago, and you go to the comment section of the YouTube video. I mean, everyone's joking about like, yeah, when I'm 80 and my grandkids are playing this game, I'll finally be happy.
I mean, I don't know what they're doing with that. I haven't really seen anything. I haven't really cared. I mean, they're cool games, but like now we've gotten to the point where games are so advanced that unless they really try to like change things up, I don't think that many people, I could be wrong, but just the way I'm thinking, I don't think many people would really care that much about it.
So you're saying it's bad?
No, it just doesn't really seem like intriguing to me.
But
Or
why would people like a bad game?
I don't know. That's for them to know, I guess. I don't know.
It's for them to know. I don't know. It sounds like you're stepping back on it.
Yeah.
You said it's a bad game, but people would like it still.
A bad game?
Yeah.
Yeah. My experience, it was a free game on Xbox 360. I played it. I had a really good time with it. I did some mods, the USB mods. That's where I got introduced to them. Didn't really do a whole lot of USB modding, but one of the games that I did was Dead Island, and I had a good time with all the infinite ammo weapons and modded weapons that I used.
You just admitted to a crime on a podcast.
Sue me.
Someone might take you for all you're worth, all your USB drives full of hacks.
Yeah, I guess. Back from 2011 or 12. That literally, I don't even know where it would be.
It's probably gone.
And I guess that's probably, unless you want to touch on anything.
I think that's pretty much sums up Dead Island. I mean, it's old enough that like very few people, which they did remaster it, so I guess people now actually would know more about the game. I haven't bought it again, but of course that's because I don't have anyone to play with, and also like you said, the games are just so evolved that like I'd rather buy something else than something I played way back when. Now if it's on sale, I'd say pick it up, but that's just me.
I tried to play it, I don't remember when, I think it's like a year ago, and I couldn't get into it. I tried because I remembered having such a good time, and it just wasn't doing it for me. When there's a game we're going to get into later, when the first Dying Light is out, like, I don't know how you can play Dead Island because it's the exact same thing, but better in every sense, in my opinion. The first one, anyways.
No, yeah.
Like, the simplicity is really the only thing I feel like you would like more about.
No, yeah.
Dead Island. Something
you can just turn on and just kind of listen to music or something.
Yeah.
I guess since we're talking about classic games, though, we can talk about Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Because, along with Dead Island, that also came with Left 4 Dead. Because Left 4 Dead 1, I think, came out in 2008 or 9. And Left 4 Dead 2 came out like 2012, 2013. So like Dead Island and Left 4 Dead were pretty much hand in hand. And personally, I still play Left 4 Dead 2. I don't think you really play either of them, but not necessarily. At least I don't think you thought they were a bad game.
No, I loved them both.
It still has a pretty active community. I played the other night, and it still had like 30,000 people playing versus. I don't know how or why, but...
Well, I can tell you why, because there's nothing good to play.
Well, that, and also like when Back 4 Blood kind of flopped, which we could talk about that.
Yeah.
I played it. I beat the campaign. Thought it was pretty decent, but I didn't like the verses, and it seemed like everyone just hated Back 4 Blood so much that they went back and played Left 4 Dead 2 just for almost, it seems, to spite them. But I mean, what were your experiences with it? Left 4 Dead 2.
Left 4 Dead 2, I just got it because I think you had it and a lot of other people had it, and I heard great things about it, and I don't know. I played it, and it was one of the better Xbox 360 games I think I've played. Multiplayer was great. The story was good as always. Not like a whole lot really to say besides it's just a really solid game, and I mean, people obviously still play it for a reason because it was one of the best games of that era.
Oh no, yeah, and I think that on Xbox it would get pretty old, but like I still play base game Left 4 Dead 2, so I mean I enjoy it that much. But on the computer, I mean you can still download custom maps and stuff, so there's still like new content being created for it, just not by Valve. And I think like that game definitely would have a lot of replayability.
For sure.
But yeah.
The first one, I don't really remember it as well. I don't even think I really played the online like a whole lot in that one, but I did like the story. Again, kind of like the second one. It started, a new trend, the zombie games. So I respect it for that, and it was really solid. There's nothing bad that I can say. I just don't remember it like being like amazing or just anything like that. Just a solid game.
No, yeah, and like in terms of zombies, I mean, it was kind of scary to the point where like you'd have to go through sewers and stuff like that, and like when it's dark out, it's night, and like they had the hunter charger and get you from like nowhere. But like it wasn't scary to the point where like you would expect a jump scare.
Right.
So like I kind of think it did a good job having its like I'll just call it like I guess a creepy factor of being something that like you can still like get scared, but like it's not like Outlast scary, not jump scare scary.
No, I guess we kind of already got on this topic or branch or whatever you want to call it. Which one was better? Obviously, I think we both agree it's 2. Not even really.
Yeah, I mean, they're
close.
the same game. I don't really know why I wrote that, because they're pretty much the same game. 2 just added more, but like now they just combined 1 and 2. So if you play 2, you can play all the maps on 1. So it's the same game nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think, I mean, it just goes to show that Left 4 Dead 2 could add, like 3 or 4 new guns, like 3 new special infected, and the game was still fun. They didn't have to go above and beyond and like add all this stuff that people try to do nowadays. You could sit down and still play it. And I think that's a lost art nowadays.
Just when you have a good game, good maps, good weapons, it's amazing how people still play it.
No, yeah. And since our tradition is going back to the last podcast, I mean, look at Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They try to do too much now, when if you just went back to the simple recipe, I'm sure they could make a lot of money. They still do, but they could make even more.
And I don't understand how they don't realize that they get paid. There's people that get paid in those studios to make all that money, and they can't just envision, that more people would buy their product, more people would play their game, which means more money if they would just listen to the fans, the people that give them the money in the first place.
No, yeah, and it's kind of sad to see Valve is kind of taking a back seat with their games, because I think if they released a Left 4 Dead 3 like now, like if they just took their Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 formula, added some new weapons, some infected, and some new items, I think it could make a run for Game of the Year, just the way things have been going.
Definitely.
Especially if they added like a legit story, not just a get from here to there. But also, they could also screw it up if they added a legit story. So, but yeah,
that's true.
No, yeah, and since we're on the topic of good stories, we'll talk about The Last of Us.
All right.
What's you go ahead and start with your experience, because I think you've played through it way more than I have.
Yeah, I've played through it a couple times. Last of Us, the first one of my favorite games of all time, no debate. I remember I didn't have a PS3, and I really wanted to play it. I had the Game Informer from GameStop, and there was just something you could tell about that game that was different. It just immediately just jumped at me, like to me, and looked like it was just a masterpiece of a game. And another game that did that was Max Payne 3, but I still haven't played that, but I've heard really good things about it. But that's just besides the point. Like, you can tell sometimes just by looking at a game, like how much they care about it and how good it's going to be. And that was one of those games. There's not one bad thing I can say about that game. I think the characters were perfect. I think the story was amazing. The weapons, I mean, for the time, the gameplay was good.
What about the multiplayer?
The multiplayer was... I have mixed emotions. It pissed me off, but as do all multiplayer games and usually just games in general. So, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I put a lot of time into it. I remember we played it quite a good bit.
Oh, I think that multiplayer, that has to be like one of my favorite multiplayers, just because like you could craft in it. It wasn't like I'm just gonna run out here and like just start shooting, and if I die, I die. Mm-hmm. Like it actually mattered if you went down. I think I wish that was just a base game, just that multiplayer. Mm-hmm. But also, I remember you getting very upset at it when there was level like 900s.
Well, that's the thing, like, when there's people that just play it that much, I guess I kind of jumped to it later on, but nowadays, especially if you go into it, it's just horrible. Anybody that you come across is level 700,000.
Yeah, if they're even playing anymore.
If they're even playing, yeah. Oh, you can find people, I guarantee you, but they're all going to be max level, but... happens to every single multiplayer game as time goes on. But they are working on a second standalone multiplayer game, so we're gonna have to see what happens with that. But yeah, it's I think it was gonna be a free to play standalone multiplayer game, which free to play is probably gonna be the downfall of it.
Probably, maybe.
I don't know for certain.
Let me ask you what since we're talking about the map, well, multiplayer goes with maps. What's in the campaign at least? Like, what was your favorite area? Because I know everyone loves like the snow.
I think that was probably my favorite area too, just because it was at the end of the game and it just, I don't know, you knew things were ramping up. I really liked the snow area at the end.
I love the city with was it Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Bill was a great character, and I thought the city was so much fun.
Everything. I mean, there's not one really bad area. I mean, honestly, I enjoyed every part of it.
Yeah, I tried to play it on like its hardest difficulty. Was not fun.
No.
I highly suggest you don't do it.
Well, whenever supposedly they're remastering it again for the PlayStation 5, when they do that, I'll probably try to platinum it. Don't know if I will, but I'm gonna attempt to.
Good luck, man. The clickers were the hardest part, 'cause you can't see them with your sense. You don't have any sense, so you don't know where they are.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna make me want to rip hair out of my ass. I can already probably tell.
What is that expression?
I don't know. I mean, what do you
bring up the next?
What do you want me to say? I don't know. After talking about the first Last of Us, or I guess we never talked about the best feature, what we thought the best feature of The Last of Us 2. I think it was not necessarily like the story itself, not necessarily the gameplay. I think it was the dynamic between Joel and Ellie, how their relationship evolved and correlated and coagulated, whatever you want to say, throughout their journey. I think that's what made that game, why it's so renowned to this day.
No, yeah, I think the characters, because like every character had a purpose. Like it wasn't like, oh, we need someone in this area, like we're just gonna add someone and not give them. The characters felt like they had life to them, and it felt more like an act, like almost like a documentary more than an actual just like, oh, I'm playing a game. It's the last game I can recall where like the characters actually like meant something to me, because nowadays like it's not very many rememberable characters like there used to be. So I really think the characters is what drove that game, which I haven't played the second one, but I heard the characters in there are kind of, I heard it was a good game.
I mean, if you're just talking strictly gameplay, then yeah, I can see how you would think it was a decent game.
Sounds like you're salty about it.
Maybe. Because the first game is one of my favorite games of all time, and they kind of just unloaded the fertilizer on the second one. but we don't need to get into every little minute detail. But there's, I don't know, just
It's for another episode.
it could be. I don't want to just sit here and just talk about how bad the second one is to me, but they definitely veered from the path that I was hoping they would take, and it kind of just seemed pointless. Like, if they're gonna do that, I don't even understand why even make a second one, was kind of my thought, and it still kind of is now, but it is what it is.
I mean, are you saying, like, you think the series, do you think they'll make another sequel? And if they do you think it's like, do you think it's heading in the right direction?
I do not think it's heading in the right direction at all.
Even with the TV show coming out?
Well,
Do you think they'll add any to it?
I guarantee you they'll make a third one. I guarantee you they will, especially if the TV show does good. And I guess we can talk about that here in a second. But I don't have any interest in it. But I mean, if the TV series does good, then of course they're going to make another game. I think they're going to make it regardless, because I know it sold well. Because it's just a game people liked. I mean, again, I can't understand it, but people did like it, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, what news do you know about the TV show? Because I completely forgot they were making one until you brought it up before this.
I just know that it's going to be on HBO. It's going to come out here in, I think, the next couple years. And Pedro Pascal is going to be Joel. And I don't really remember anything.
Pretty much all they've said about it so far.
Pretty much. I don't know. I mean, I'll give it a shot just because I like the first Last of Us so much. Now, if they I'm just so curious to see what they're going to do. Like, how long is it going to be? Because they're going to either have to put a lot of filler in if they're going to follow the game storyline, which is what it should do since it's based off of the game. But I don't know how long if they're going to do like one season for one, another season for the. There's no way. They're going to probably try to milk everything they can out of it, and they're going to add. It's probably going to be like at least 3 seasons for the first game, and probably like the same for the second one at the bare minimum.
Yeah, I could see them stretching it out much further than they actually have to.
Yeah.
But that seems to be the reoccurring theme with movie and game industries, as we discussed.
Yeah, always better to keep it short and sweet than to let it go on forever. Perfect example, Breaking Bad, one of the best TV series I've ever seen. Only has 5 seasons, doesn't go on. I mean, I would have loved to have more, but you can have too much of a good thing at some point, so it's better just to cut it off before things go horribly wrong and you have a horrible memory, like The Walking Dead. 2 polar opposites.
Well, I mean, it's like the character thing. It's like you got to give your episodes purpose. And if people are watching an episode that means nothing to the series, they're just going to wait to just watch the episodes they actually need to. Mm-hmm. That's what a bunch of shows do. They'll fill it, and then people will go online and they'll make a list of you can skip all of these episodes, and then people can watch a 6-season series in a day. Mm-hmm. It's sad, which, I mean, if the fillers are entertaining, that's fine. But if it's just someone, say, when they're in the winter in the snow, if it's just an episode of Joel suffering, I don't really want to watch 45 minutes of that.
No, and I don't know, really. It seems like people just get pleased by anything they see on TV nowadays. That's not me. I'd much rather just play games or just sit on my phone and scroll through YouTube or TikTok or something than watch a series that's boring. I really don't watch much TV at all because I just find it so pointless.
I don't either.
Because you really don't get anything out of watching the series because they just really don't care. They just try to milk it for all it's worth. Mm-hmm. But I guess we could say, what are our hopes or expectations for this series? I have a little bit of hope. I think it could be good, at least the part that follows the first game. I think it could be decent, and I have a decent amount of hope. They put a lot of money into it, I know that, which doesn't mean anything, but...
Well,
It's a good sign. It's better than not having enough, I should say.
my two hopes are they get like good actors for it, and I also hope that they don't make it too close to The Walking Dead. Because I know like nowadays they said The Walking Dead's more like instead of fighting zombies, it's people fighting people, which in The Last of Us there are people, but you fight people and then you also are fighting zombies at different times.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping they know the balance to go in between both of those. And
Right.
that's my one fear, but that's just because The Walking Dead made that error, which I haven't actually watched all The Walking Dead, but that's because everyone told me it's only good till like season 4 or 5, and so then I just don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna at some point. I don't know when because I don't ever watch anything, but I'm gonna try to go back through it again and try to watch it all the way through because they're on. I think at the end of this year is when it's gonna end for good. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to watch it through, just because it used to be so good. But I mean that we're just comparing it because it's really the best thing we can compare it to because zombie series that isn't too overly, I don't even know, supernatural. I guess like Zombieland and stuff like that, Z Nation, stuff like that. That's just kind of like it has zombies, but it's like so far out there. It's not like a grounded zombies thing. Like
No, yeah.
that's kind of what I'm trying to infer. But long story short, my expectations for the series, nothing too crazy. I just think they'll do a okay job, and anything better than okay, I'll take, and I'll be okay with.
No, yeah, I don't think it's going to be any, like, series that goes down in history, but I think it'll be decent, and who knows, they can prove me wrong, and maybe it will be super good. It'll surprise me, but yeah.
All right, so we covered that. Didn't really drag on Last of Us 2. There's really no need to because, one, I could do a whole video about that by myself, or
Also, neither of us have played it. You have seen it to the end.
I've watched the entire game get played, but there's really nothing we need to say because nothing we say is going to change anything.
No, yeah.
So, I guess we can talk about Days Gone. I know you haven't played it. I just recently platinumed this game.
I played a little bit of it. Like, I know, like, the basis of it.
Well, this game, while it's not perfect, I really don't understand, first and foremost, why Sony decided to not go ahead and follow through with the sequel for Days Gone. And I'm going to get into, why I think that, obviously, my feelings and thoughts about the game. But Ghost of Tsushima, which is one of my favorite games of all time, it sold less copies than Days Gone. But, and it already has a sequel greenlit, but Days Gone sold more copies and didn't get the green light. So, I'm just never going to understand that. But, from just going back and playing it, they didn't upgrade it necessarily. Kind of an upgrade, not a full upgrade. They made it 4K and 60 FPS on the PS4. The PS5, but the PS4 edition they upgraded if you have a PS5. And I went back and I had already beaten the game, but I platinumed it. And it just is so fun. It was such a good experience just driving around on the fully upgraded motorcycle when it's not like you're on a Walmart scooter. The game's a lot better when it actually feels like you're driving around and can move and doesn't feel like you're some 350-pound woman on a scooter or 350-pound man on a scooter.
Yeah, why we gotta be so specific?
Or a 350-pound dog on a scooter. I don't know.
No way you've seen that.
I haven't, and I hope I don't either. But regardless.
So I guess, do you think it was overhyped, underhyped, or properly when it was first announced and like up to its release date?
I think it was underhyped because people were just crap talking the game left and right. Because one, it was a zombie game, open world, and then also because it had like a few minor bugs. But people kept talking about these bugs, and I still haven't seen one. The only bug I've ever seen in that game was when a horde didn't show up and I had to save the game and reload it. People talk about all these bugs. I didn't see it. That was not my experience.
You'll see when it first was announced and being talked about. I think it was kind of overhyped. And then when it released, I remember
was just talking
everyone.
about when it released.
Oh no, yeah, when it released, everyone they changed their mind. They're like, never mind, it's the worst game ever because of the bugs.
It was like a 6.5 out of 10 from IGN. That game is not a 6.5 at the bare minimum. It's an 8.
No, yeah, I've kind of stopped listening to IGN because after that and some of their other ratings, I'm like, I like the games they seem to hate. So
yeah, they give The Last of Us 2, which you can say it's good and all that, but a 10. Or a 9.5? No way in hell is it that.
No.
Even objectively speaking, it's not that.
No.
So, I just IGN. I don't know. Ignorant Gamers Network is what I call it. That's what I'm gonna stand by.
It's for another video. We
Yeah,
can just have a video of
shout
bashing
out to
IGN. Sponsor us.
Yeah, I'd rather be sponsored by. Never mind. I'm not even.
By Arizona Iced Tea.
Yeah. Much rather be sponsored by Arizona Iced Tea.
Please.
But I'll just go over quickly the mechanics and what I liked about it. The motorcycle, the transversal with the motorcycle, the open world. While there wasn't a lot of wildlife and stuff like that. I mean, it's post-apocalyptic, so there's not going to be a whole bunch of crazy things. But what Days Gone did differently than a lot of other games is it put zombie animals, so zombie wolves and zombie bears. Yeah. And that's really the only game I've seen do that. And I thought that was pretty neat. The world itself is really beautiful. It's in Oregon, I think. So it's in the northwest. That area is beautiful in the game, from the snow to just the forest to the. I think there's kind of drier parts.
The rain's pretty realistic too, from what I remember playing. Which in real life, that's how it is. It's rainy.
Yeah, the game, it was just really good, really solid, and I don't know, it just really bothers me that game isn't going to get a sequel when it's such a great game, and they're just shoveling out these games now that are Dying Light 2, for example. Which we can get into later, and everybody wants to talk about that and love on that, but it doesn't hold a candle to Days Gone. It doesn't hold a candle, and if it did, somebody would just fart on that candle. So,
I mean, do you think it's similar to The Last of Us in any way? The original. I thought it was. Of
course, I just immediately.
We don't talk about the second one with you, I guess. Just with you, though.
Any more than we have to. I really don't think it is similar to The Last of Us in any way, except that it is a Sony exclusive zombies game. That's another thing. You have the characters, but it's not as in depth as per se The Last of Us. But the world is so much bigger and vast that you don't need that. But there are some really good character. Interactions with characters in that game, Deacon St. John's amazing protagonist, Boozer's really cool. Spoiler alert, Sarah, she's a pretty cool character. Deacon St. John's wife, who you think's dead, that actually isn't. I don't know. I really enjoyed the game. I really did, and I thought it was a very, very solid experience. And I don't know. I really wish it could have got a sequel, man, because that's a very solid game. And I know you don't have much to say about it because you didn't really play it.
I've played the first little bit. I got to the part where you wound the guy, take his map, and then the zombies eat him, or you kill him or something, or you decide. That's about where I got to, and I was like, I'll play this later, and then just never got back to it.
Oh, and I didn't touch on this. This is probably the most important aspect about the game. The Horde Mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
It is the only game I've ever seen do the Horde Mechanic properly. Whereas, you can actually kill them if you know what to do. You're not just going to die every single time. Or you can at least get up to the point where you have the equipment to kill them. Because, you shouldn't be able to take on a horde, obviously, at the start of the game. But when you, have all your skills at the end, you should just be able to mow through them. And that's what you're able to do. As long as you have ammo, you can mow through that horde. And, I don't know how many it is exactly. Probably 100, maybe 150. It's not, insane. But I really wish we could have gotten to see what would happen on the PS5 with that, because I mean, it probably would have been horrible, like, to play, but just to see, like, 1,000 zombies or something, I don't know.
I mean, that'd be pretty terrible. They'd have to add something new for that. There's no way they'd be like, yeah, we'll just give them the same items and weapons.
No,
and
they would have to change the game up, like, some.
But they're not making a sequel, so why would they remaster it?
I don't know. So after that, we can kind of go on. I think we should save Resident Evil for last, because that's like kind of the Godfather. That's the OG zombie. Let's save that for last, and let's hit on Dying Light. Now, how much of the first Dying Light did you play?
I remember jumping off the crane. And then I was running around the city for a while. I got through the first night. Saved. It was evening of the next day, and that was about it.
Wow. What adventure you had out into the wastelands in the city.
I wasn't a big fan of it. I mean, I liked the parkour and everything, but it's one of those games that, like, I needed people to play with.
Oh, absolutely. I would never recommend playing a game like that by yourself. If you have a group of people to play with, especially with the DLC, the first Dying Light, it's great because you have it's not like go-karts, excuse me. I don't know what it's called. It's like it's kind of like a dune buggy, I guess. It's kind of like what it is, and you can drive around, and it's really cool. It's really fun. Like, you laugh at it, and it is kind of funny to talk about, but it's actually like really cool.
No, I'm laughing at you forgot Dune Buggy.
Let me just remember Dune Buggy out of all the words I can remember. But regardless, the first game, great combat. The parkour, we haven't really seen anything like that since Assassin's Creed. Very welcome addition in a game like that. You have the grappling hook, which actually worked in the first game, but, in the second game...
Sound upset about it.
How do you mess up a grappling hook?
I don't know.
I don't know. They did it, so let's ask them.
I wasn't on Dying Light 2 creators. Please reach out.
Yeah. I'm going to slap that hand away real fast.
Yeah, they don't want to talk to you.
They shouldn't. I don't want to talk to them. But regardless, the first game, I think it's a very underrated game. If you don't like it, I mean, I get it. But if you're playing with people, it's a very solid experience. You can explore the city, explore a couple cities, actually, with all the DLC. And they kept supporting that game year in and year out for like 5 or 6 years. They just kept adding stuff. And that's why I had such high hopes for Dying Light 2. I had just tremendous expectations because of how they did the first Dying Light. And I think that's kind of why I am so just bummed by Dying Light 2.
And then what happened?
Well, I mean, I guess there really isn't that much more to talk about the first Dying Light, especially since you haven't played it, really. I mean, again...
I have the gist of it.
You have the daytime where it's not as hard. Then you have the nighttime where
it's really hard.
Where it's really hard. And the story, I like the story. And
the grappling hook works.
That's true. The grappling hook did work like it should have.
What was your reaction in the second one when you tried to use the grappling hook and it didn't work? Were you angry? Did you just turn the game off? Like,
well, moving on to Dying Light 2. Oh man, I really don't understand how so many people like this game. I don't know what the gamers nowadays think is quality. But we do not have the same vision of quality, me and most modern gamers.
Yeah. Dying Light 2 is quality. A+.
But when not only you have to wait until the tail end of the game to get the grappling hook, it's just garbage. Like, that's the only way you can put it. How do you mess up a grappling hook? You literally throw it and hang on something. But no.
What's it do in the game?
It is like the most buggy mess. You'll run and jump and fall through, and it won't even register. It's like, hey, what am I mean, maybe they're going for a more realistic thing, like, oh, hey, you could miss. Why isn't there an animation? where it misses instead of just going up and like it's just a straight line. It's like you're Spider-Man, but it's not sticking.
Oh, I can only imagine your reaction to that.
Oh, my reaction: delete. That was my reaction, and that was after I paid 60 freaking. And mind you, the multiplayer wasn't working. It would like not even allow me to play friends, so I had to play it all by myself. And that's only so fun because you only have a shovel, a shoe, and a bag full of to hit enemies with.
And a grapple hook.
No. Or you can kick them like this that does like no damage. But what really made me just despise the game to its core. I was like, hey, I got the bow now. I cannot wait. Like, this is going to be fun. Because I don't mind not having guns if you have good alternatives. No. I got the crossbow, a purple crossbow that had like 200 some damage. I could not kill a standard zombie with 3 headshots from a purple crossbow with maxed out skills. With the damage upgrade. I think I even turned it on to easy mode just to see if it would work too. And I think it still took 2 shots to the head. If you're going to have no guns, like, that's okay. But have the other weapons be fun to use. When I'm using a bow and I'm shooting a rotten corpse, the arrow should fly right through it and it should be dead. You shouldn't have this little Destiny grind system to have to shoot something in the head 15 times to kill it with a crossbow. Just
getting heated, man.
It's literally Destiny. Dying Light 2 is Destiny 2 reskin with zombies. Which, I like Destiny 2. But I know what I'm getting into when I play it.
Well, you didn't know when you loaded up Dying Light 2?
I did not.
Would you have started it up if you knew what it was going to be?
If I had known now what I know then, no. I would have saved myself the $60.
Well, okay, I think we got your opinion on that you got that pretty
Anything
clear.
you have to say about it? I know you didn't play it, but...
I didn't play it, mainly because you told me it was bad. And then I asked other people, and they said it was one of the best games they ever played. I kid you not.
I want to find out who's saying that, and I want to see their favorite games, and I want to see what they play, because I just am just in awe of, like, who thinks that's a good game. And one of the best games they've ever played? Holy moly. Man, they must live a sad life.
I think we'll let your blood pressure go back down, and we'll start talking about Resident Evil if you're done with that.
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to.
No, I mean I get it.
Going into the.
No, it's there. You got plenty of emotion with that one.
Okay, now we can calm down a little bit with Resident Evil, one of my favorite zombie franchises.
One of the best games you've ever played.
Yeah. Some of my favorites. Starting it off, I guess, what was your first experience? What was your first introduction? Or what was your introduction? I guess you only have one introduction, so of course it would be the first, technically speaking. But what was your introduction to the series of Resident Evil?
So I played Resident Evil 5 first. I loved it. I love that you could play with someone. It was 2-player, obviously. I thought it was cool how the story you could still play alone or with a person, and you still, in my opinion, would get the same experience. My only part I didn't much care for in Resident Evil 5 was the marsh, and that's just because, if I remember correctly, there really was no indicator on where to go. You would just drive around till you found some place, and then you would just hope to God that it opened. And then, other than that, I thought the bosses were cool. I played with one of my old friends from the 360, and I thought it was a great game. I played 6. Hated that game. I played 7. Loved it. Didn't beat it, but I got to the very end. Like when you're in like the shipwreck or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to that and I couldn't figure out where to go.
Dang.
Haven't played the village yet, but I really want to. I didn't play 1, 2, 3, or 4. I really want to play 4. I heard it's really good. I've seen videos on it, but I haven't played it yet. Surprised.
The first Resident Evil I ever played, I don't know if it was the first one. I think it was the first one on the PS1. Whatever one was on the PS1, I played whichever one that was.
I think it was the first one.
It was probably the first one, and I liked it. I thought it was cool, but I mean, I would just play whatever I could get my hands on when I was a kid, whatever games. My uncle had a PS1, so I played it. Didn't think much about it because, you know, I mean, the PS2 was out, the original Xbox, so, like, I wasn't really caring too much about the PS1, but I thought it was fun. When I really got introduced, I guess I would say, or when I had my first true Resident Evil experience was with 4. That was the first one I actually, like, you know, played all the way through and beat. That's still to this day one of my favorite games of all time. I love it. It actually felt scary. Just the progression, the way now the camera movements and stuff like that. I mean, it's Resident Evil. It's gonna be like a little clunky, like how it was, but
that was the style back
then.
That was
the style.
The fixed cameras.
So no holds barred against that. But what
does that even mean?
Nothing.
Holds barred.
It's like a wrestling term. So, like, when you hold them and, like, you know how, like, they would stop it, like, sometimes, and, like, that means it's barred. That means you can't, like, do it. So, it's, like, all or nothing.
You misused it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Let's just, yeah. Okay. Moving on. Resident Evil 4, great game, one of my favorites of all time. A lot of replay value too, because not only do you go into all these different areas and you can find like collectibles or I guess maybe not I think it is to a degree collectibles, but you would shoot like, what was it? Was it like medals or plates? You would shoot like something.
In 5 it was plates. It was like little medallion plates.
Yeah, maybe it's medallion, something like you would shoot like that, and you could get all the collectibles, and then if you did that, you'd get like a special item. It's just cool stuff like that. And then when you beat the game, you can turn like the infinite ammo on and stuff like that. Like, it really gives replay value to the game, and that's something, you know, a lot of games don't give you today, but that's something I've always respected about Resident Evil. 4 is a masterpiece, great story, solid gameplay, especially for the time. And they're going to remake it, I think. Like, not a remaster, a remake. And I can't tell you how excited I am for that, because it's one of my favorite games of all time. And I don't know, I think I'm just going to go back to 2, because I played 2, the remake for 2.
Yeah.
I loved that. That game is amazing. The cameras, they changed up, so it isn't the same as it was on...
That's the one with Nemesis in it, isn't it? Are you talking about the newer Resident Evil 2 or the old?
I'm talking about
one?
the newer one.
Yeah, I have that bought. I was gonna play it. Never got to it.
That's what I did. I bought it. I think it was like $15 off, so I bought it for like $45. I sat in my PlayStation catalog for like a year, and then I was, you know, with the games coming out nowadays, good luck. So got on, like, I'd played like an hour and then I just stopped. But I got back on after that year, and I loved the game. Played through it, and I was gonna try to platinum it, and I was gonna try to play through again. You can choose either Claire or Leon to go through the game with, and I started with Claire, and just kind of stopped there. But I do think that's a good enough game to play through, like, again, and try to platinum. It has a lot of replay value. Combat's fun. I don't know, just a very well done game. Not a whole lot to say besides just really, really good game. And now here we go, like, I guess before we talk about Biohazard and Village, first and foremost, do you like the change that they did? Because a lot of people, like, I was reading comments of the best Resident Evils the other day, and people were like, yeah, like, they said, like, they're good games, but they're not Resident Evil. And that kind of struck a chord with me, kind of like Assassin's Creed, because, like, a lot of new people love Assassin's Creed because of the changes that it makes, but I don't like it because it's not what it used to be. You think that's kind of like, or I guess what's your take on it?
Well, I guess I can see what they mean because the old Resident Evils have to deal with what do they call it? The what virus?
I don't remember what it's called.
I'll call it the Z virus, but I don't think it's called
I
that.
don't remember what it's called.
I played Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, without I thought it was just going to be the same concept, just out in the swamp, but I loved it. In my opinion, which I haven't played all of them, but so far 7 is one of my favorites, just because it's scary while also being action packed. The map is ever changing. You go all the way back to the first area numerous times, but not because you forgot something or anything like that. I can see why they'd be it's not Resident Evil, but I think it still has a place in the Resident Evil. Especially, I haven't played Village yet, but from what I've seen about Village, it looks more like it has to do with shooting zombies, as it should, because it's probably in a village. But also they just did a great job on making a scary game. Resident Evil Biohazard, that game freaked me out numerous times. That was because I used to play Outlast, so I don't really get jump scared anymore, and that game gave me some jump scares. So any game that can do that, if it's supposed to, kudos to them.
I'm kind of right there with you. They can, I definitely, if they didn't want to call it Resident Evil, I could get where they're coming from, because I understand they did that to my beloved franchise, Assassin's Creed. It can be in the franchise, but don't call it that. I could understand if they wanted to change the name to just, take Resident Evil out. But I loved both of those games, especially Biohazard. I'm still torn whether I like 2 or Biohazard as my second. My first is 4, but I think I'm going to have to go Biohazard being my number 2 Resident Evil, just because of what you were saying. I've never played a game that's is action packed and scary, and that's why I didn't like Outlast so much, is because you just couldn't do anything. You literally just sit there with the camera and you have to hide and you can't do anything. If you're into that, whatever. But that's why I like Resident Evil 7 so much, because it's literally that experience, but you can do something about that. It's literally the only game I've ever gotten scared while playing.
No, yeah, Outlast definitely more just story driven, and if you actually look at the story of Outlast, there's a lot more than I thought there was. But Resident Evil does a good job on both doing stealth and fighting, and I think that it did really good on just the element. Being, because we're used to the horror movies where you're out at camp, Friday the 13th, you're in Texas, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's a wasteland. Screams in the town, Halloween's in town, but then they throw this marsh area, the bugs, everything it looks scary. The trees, the shadows, everything, and then plus just the presence and the way the characters are just makes it creepier.
No, I remember when I saw Jack busting in through the door the 100th time after I'd killed him 3 times.
Yeah.
I was oh my god, again.
No, yeah, that's kind of what I think takes the Resident Evil, is because I think they have the virus, something like that. I forget the story. I haven't played it in a year or so. But I'm pretty sure they have the virus, and that's why he kept that's why they went insane, and that's why he kept living. And I think they did a good job on that. I didn't much care for the son's character. I thought he was still scary, but I think the father and the wife, I think those were the scariest people.
Yeah.
That they I think that they added so much horror to the game.
Well, if you liked it that much, first and foremost, you need to finish it. And also, the DLC is really fun too, because you're playing as Jack's brother in the DLC. And he's so overpowered. It's so fun to play that game and just be overpowered and just walk through all the zombies with all his weapons and stuff.
I'm gonna have to give it a try then.
I really enjoyed it. If I'm buying DLC for a game, which I hardly ever do anymore, it's something to take note of, because I don't know, that's just really, really solid game. They're supposedly not remaking, but remastering it, I think, for the PS5. And that's something I will definitely go back to if they do that. Because, I don't know. I thought it was a VR-only game at first. That's why I waited so long to play it, because I remember everybody was talking about VR. So I thought you had to have it to play it. So, but it was free on the PlayStation. On the PlayStation 5, there's a PS Plus collection. There's like 20 games that are free, or 15 or something like that. And that was one of the games I was like, I've always kind of been intrigued by this. But I don't ever watch, never watched the gameplay, because I don't like watching like story games like that get played, because then what's the point of playing them?
No, yeah, I don't watch story games unless like I just want to see gameplay.
Right.
Because yeah, it's like the like Telltale series. That's why like they had to quit making games, because YouTubers were just making videos on it, so people would just watch it and then they wouldn't buy it. And then they tried to make it illegal for them to like record it, but it's like that's a whole nother thing. But like that's why I don't watch any, like if I think I'm gonna play a single player game like Elden Ring, I didn't watch anything on Elden Ring because I knew I'd eventually would play it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I still need to go back through and beat Elden Ring.
Oh, I do too.
But something we can kind of finish off on after we wrap up the Resident Evil. You're talking about Telltale. Telltale made a game by the name of 7 Days to Die.
Oh, I remember that game.
And we can kind of talk about that a little bit. And just like to cap it off. But to finish off with the Resident Evil, Biohazard is your favorite?
Biohazard?
Definitely one of mine. How do we feel about the change in game style? I think we've kind of answered that. I think we're both in lockstep. We both really like it.
Oh, no, yeah. It's good.
You need to get Village. It's a good game. It's not as good as 7, but it's still good. And there really isn't like zombies as much in that game as like werewolves.
That's what I thought they were.
But that's like, you know what the story is and stuff. And it's scary, but it's not like even close to like the extent that Village was. But yeah, I guess we can cap it off with 7 Days to Die. So
What
like
a classic.
There's not really a whole lot to say about it, besides that it was a really good idea that didn't have enough like either money or just like of a team to like care about it like behind it. I mean, Telltale went under, so I mean that speaks for itself. But I really liked 7 Days to Die and what it did. If they could have made a game exactly like that but with better graphics, I think it'd probably be one of my favorite games like to this day.
No, yeah, it was really fun. I remember we played it a lot, but yeah, they just didn't update. They didn't add anything. I mean, granted, you can only do so much, but like, you know, you could dig up the dirt and like build house. Like, it was really in depth. Just, I remember we used to get so excited when we saw it was updating. Nothing new.
Nothing new, like never. And anytime they updated the game, it would seem like the game would get worse. Because I remember one time they updated it, I got on to play it because I loved playing it. I literally would play it by myself. I loved playing it so much. And they made the dogs so overpowered in an update. And it literally ruined it because it would make you bleed. And you would need a Band-Aid every time so you wouldn't bleed out. But I don't know. They just made those dogs like invincible.
No, yeah. I'm with you when you say like you thought it would, like it had potential to be really good, which Telltale, I mean, they were making all their story games, so like I see why they didn't really update it, but at the same time it's like if you're going to make the game, at least, you know, finish it or like let people know like, hey, we're not adding stuff to it, instead of just giving us hope, or I guess we would hope that they would eventually add something.
Yeah, I was holding out hope for so long, and then I just saw Telltale Games is done, and I was like, oh my lord. Yep,
then delete.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I deleted the game countless times because it looks like trash, and I mean, it plays like trash too, but like, if they just could have like took every idea from that game and put it in a better engine, oh man, that would literally, like, I don't know how anybody hasn't done that. Literally just try to copy what they did, but do it in like a better like engine and with better graphics, better gameplay. It'd be a hit. I don't know who wouldn't want to buy it.
No, yeah, I think they really missed out on it.
I mean, Pete, come on. We need to get some game studios to ask just for like my opinion on stuff. I can be a game director. Come on. It's not that hard.
I mean, that's exactly what they... It probably would have helped them not go under. I mean, that was right in time with like all the survival games too. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know why
People love survival games, and they have the most replay value out of any game.
Especially if the map's random.
If it is a sandbox game, people will play it as long as it's fun and has, a lot of stuff to do. Time and time and time and time and time again. Look at Minecraft.
Yeah, people still go back.
It's like, what, 12 years old? 10 years old? Somewhere?
Something
Let's
like
say 10
that,
years
yeah.
old. 10, 11 years old. People play it. Last year, it was like the most popular searched game.
That's because they're still adding content, and they've been adding multiplayer servers that have bed wars and fun stuff to do, not just here's our base game for the last 10 years.
But unless you got anything else, I really don't have anything else to
I think it's a good place to wrap it up.
All right, well, takeaway from this video. Some studio out there, you ever see this video, make a game just like Days Gone, or that'd be great too. Make a game like 7 Days to Die that has a better engine, better gameplay, better graphics.
We will buy it.
We will buy it, and you will have a hit on your hands. People will play that game for years and years and years to come as long as it's done right. Golden idea, patent pending.
Yeah, give you the royalties, right?
Yeah, give me the royalties. So I just want to thank you guys for watching, all the support. Be sure to let your friends, family know about this video if you think they might like the podcast. Do episode every Wednesday, and
give us some ideas.
Yeah, give us some ideas.
We're open for ideas.
Feel free to put in the comments below or shoot us a message on a social media. Go ahead and just let us know what you guys are thinking about it so far and any ideas you guys might have. But that'll do it for this episode, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Have a good one.